It's time for the Texas Renaissance Festival. Over 400 artisans and craftspeople await you in their beautifully recreated 16th century village. Enjoy a worldwide menu featuring savory dishes, tasty sweets, and a variety of drinks. Revel in the finest musicians, entertainers, and nightly fireworks. Stay the weekend with their Stay and Play Pass. Open weekends and Thanksgiving Friday from October 11th through November 30th. Get tickets and more at texrenfest.com. Family merriment awaits. Huzzah! The regional premiere of Eureka Day at Fourth Wall Theater Company in Sawyer Yards is this week on September 19th. This ultra-relevant, hilarious play about debate, agreement, and finding consensus in today's world is a must-see, especially in the Fourth Wall Theater Company's intimate 100-seat black box. The play won big on Broadway this year with the 2025 Tony Award for Best Revival. Tickets start at just $39, plus the theater offers pay-what-you-will nights and other discounts. Check out fourthwalltheaterco.com to get your tickets today. That's the number 4, walltheaterco.com. Last month, reporters at the Houston Chronicle and the Texas Newsroom revealed that Elon Musk and a Texas Congressman are quietly pushing a plan to dig tunnels under Houston, supposedly to help with flooding. It's straight out of the Tesla tunnel playbook that other cities have seen. So today, I'm joined by Dayvid Figler, host of our sister show CityCast Las Vegas, to share how these tunnels have worked out for folks in Sin City and what Houstonians need to know. And stay tuned, because after this interview, we have a conversation sponsored by the British International School to learn how they prepare students for life beyond the classroom. It's Monday, September 15th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Hey, Dayvid, I'm so excited to have you on CityCast Houston. How are you, man?
Great to be here, Raheel.
So we've been talking about and studying if tunnels in Houston can be a solution for flooding, especially after the devastating floods from Hurricane Harvey in 2017. But I bet a lot of people in Houston were surprised to hear Elon Musk come up when it came to these tunnels. He is in the tunnel business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's kind of 3 angles to this. Number one, Elon Musk acquired something called the Boring Company. Obvious pun there. On the one level, they bore into the ground with their tech, but they also don't really want to raise a lot of red flags about it being an Elon Musk company. So boring, but anything but. And the second part of that, so they have this tech, and this tech is, by all accounts, really, really cool. It could go into the ground and do better, faster, cheaper than pretty much any other sort of modern mining technology. By all accounts, it's an engineering marvel what they've been able to do. It's not innovative to the fact that they created something out of nothing, but they've done it in a way that's better than most others do it.
Oh, wow.
Then there's the Boring Company, Transport Company, where they are trying to monetize this technology, not just on a lend-lease basis, but, to actually create their own things. And that's the project that has been underway for the last few years in Las Vegas, where they're boring tunnels and then inserting the capacity for cars to travel through them as an alternative transportation. And then I guess the third thing is just, it's a Musk thing. Mm-hmm. And so whenever Elon Musk is involved, there's always going to be some other angles. And I think we're going to probably talk more about the other angles than the technology itself.
Yeah. And your city, Las Vegas, was the first place to say yes, because they did announce a tunnel back in 2016 in Los Angeles that was actually never built. They've also tried and failed to start digging in Chicago and DC, but your city officials were like, yes, let's do it. What made it appealing to them?
Well, this is the MO, which now everyone should be warned about, on how this company sort of inures its way into the hearts of elected officials. So, yeah, you're correct. And we had done this deep dive with a reporter named Daniel Rothberg. He's primarily known for his environmental work, excellent journalist. And we partnered up with CityCast Las Vegas and ProPublica and did a big deep dive into this company, its history, and how it's being regulated and monitored. So we did find that every time that this was kind of proposed to different cities, there was an initial embracing of the concept. In other words, hey, we're going to quickly build these like transit tunnels underground so it'll alleviate traffic. We're not going to charge you to do that. So it's free to the taxpayers. Let's put an asterisk on that one, Raheel. And then it's going to be limited in its scope. So it was pretty much embraced in all those cities until like the requirement for an environmental impact study came into play. And then all of a sudden it disappeared. Or nearby citizens, residents, homeowners sued saying you're not following any of the rules. And then suddenly they folded up shop. So here in Las Vegas, it came in under the guise of it's just going to be a people mover underneath your convention center. That's it. And so we really didn't need the full buy-in from our elected officials because this was something that was going to be limited to our convention authority business, right? And it's a large facility, and it isn't fun, especially if you have to go outdoors in Las Vegas to walk from point A to point B. So they put up a bid, and they designed it in a way that only the Tesla tunnels were really going to be able to qualify for it. It beat out all the competitors. And then they built this system, which was operating fine. And then it turned out from our reporting that the plan all along was that this was just sort of I want to come up with a really good pun for you. More so than the foot in the door, it was kind of the beak under the sand. And now it's over 60 miles of tunnels throughout the city to all the hotels, to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, to Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, all being planned. Now, it hasn't really happened yet to that degree. It's been very delayed. They've had a lot of problems. Others have reported on a lot of OSHA violations that were cited, worker safety. There was actually one that just happened last week in Las Vegas where a worker was crushed, and it has now slowed down construction at that site even further. They're years behind schedule. And there are some debates as whether or not there really is a cost to taxpayers or not, because we've had to give away for free all the right-of-way.
Wow.
Especially all the right-of-way underground. So they just got all this land, which could have theoretically been worth billions and even more with taxes as a public giveaway.
How many miles are running right now?
3?
What?
Yeah, in 6 years of construction, they've kind of got up to 3. They're ramping up a little bit, but as they ramp up, no one expects them to have employees who are being crushed, so it slowed it down a little bit further. An employee, I should be very clear. So far, the reporting is that an employee had a crushing incident just last week.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well, and that's after reports from the very beginning when workers were being exposed to what's called toxic sludge, because the process, it's not boring. It's kind of urban mining, and you're going down there, and because they were putting in these concrete tunnels to allow the Teslas to drive through them, and it's only built for Teslas, by the way. It's not
Nobody else.
going to be able to be repurposed for any other vehicles.
Yeah.
They were doing it in a manner that it mixed groundwater with chemicals that were designed to speed up the process, and workers were being either splashed with it or it was falling off of unguarded conveyor belts, and people were getting third-degree burns on their face and their ankles and their
What?
hands, and they didn't have the proper safety equipment, and that resulted in fines from the OSHA that the boring company has contested all along. But there was a container that we reported about in the story where they were storing these waste materials, but it was sort of makeshift, and it had multiple times the capacity of what it should have had, and it burst, and OSHA said that if any employee was nearby, they would have been instantly killed. There's a lot, Raheel.
Okay. So this was just the first project for the Boring Company, right? These transportation tunnels.
Yeah.
And as you just mentioned, there have been a lot of issues. And again, your reporting with ProPublica was fantastic.
Thanks.
But we're talking about flooding tunnels in Houston, something that the Boring Company, are they specializing in this? Is this going to be their first time doing this? Because what they're specifically working on is flooding.
They have a really good track record of being able to make holes into the ground with their tech. Their main device is something that they've called Proof Rock, which I think is a T.S. Eliot reference on some level, but also another pun. They're very into the puns over there.
Oh, yeah.
we don't know what the environmental impact of all this digging under the desert will be. Thankfully, there hasn't been, other than what we've reported on and the way that they've treated the local regulatory agencies, which is poorly and without a lot of transparency or response that one would expect from such a large-scale effort. No one knows if they were any good at transport. They were good at making holes in the ground. So whether or not it's going to serve the needs of your flood remediation and in a way that isn't going to be a net loss with environmental impact, I don't know that those studies have been done. I try to do a little research for you to see, but this would be the first time that they've endeavored on that. And I think that the sell is, look, we're really good at making holes, so we can do this too.
This seems like it is straight out of Elon Musk's playbook, right? Because right now he is working with Congressman Wesley Hunt, and they've pitched this tunnel system that we need, of course, here in the city of Houston when it comes to flooding. But experts are saying that we need these massive pipelines. Like I'm talking 30 to 40 feet in diameter. But the Boring Company is pushing a smaller system, just 2 narrow 12-foot tunnels around one major watershed. And this sounds like, yeah, we're good at digging and we'll figure this out.
Yeah. And that was kind of the sell here is like, trust us, we have really smart people working for us, which they do. They have really good engineers there. They have mastered this technology. And the technology is something that is, by all accounts, very impressive. But yeah, maybe it's only fitted for what they could fit because they're not building a subway system in Las Vegas that someone else could come in with trains if this project falters or fails or this company goes bankrupt or whatever. It is a single use, which is for Tesla cars to drive in a one-way direction from point A to point B. It's not alleviating traffic here. In other words, there's a traffic plan engineer who we have on our program a lot, who has a national reputation, a big following. His name is Ray Delahanty. He's also known as City Nerd.
Okay.
And he's like, this is the MO of the Boring Company, is to overpromise and underdeliver.
Hey, y'all. I want to tell you about the newest exhibition at the Holocaust Museum, Houston. It's called Growing Up Jewish, Art and Storytelling, and it starts September 19th. It explores the key people, experiences, and community that shaped artist Jacqueline Cott Wall. The exhibit is a really interesting combination of paintings plus the artist's own narration. So you can see playful images of Jewish holidays, milestones, and so many other experiences, and read the artist's written reflections about being Jewish, from her grandmother's kitchen at Passover to summer camp. The exhibition is included with your general admission ticket to the Holocaust Museum Houston, so plan your visit now at hmh.org/growingupjewish. And don't forget, admission is free for everyone on Thursdays from 2 to 5 p.m. and always free for children and students through age 18 and college students with a valid student ID. You don't want to miss this moving journey through the eyes of a beloved artist. Head to hmh.org/growingupjewish to learn more.
Did you know that September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and kidney cancer is one of the most common types of childhood cancer? So, the Kidney Cancer Association is asking for your help to bring awareness and raise funds through a fun favor. Here it is. Get some chalk, go outside, and write messages of hope on a sidewalk. Yep, that's it. You can raise awareness by chalking up your sidewalk. And be sure to tag the Kidney Cancer Association on social media so they can share your messages of hope with others. And if you can, donate at chalkyourwalk.org so we can raise funds for research. Now's the time to get outside and start drawing so we can come together to fight pediatric kidney cancer. Learn more at chalkyourwalk.org. That's chalkyourwalk.org. Step into the conversation that's shaping Texas's future at the Texas Tribune Festival. The Texas Tribune is bringing together inspiring thinkers, leaders, and innovators to discuss the issues that matter to you. Dive into unforgettable conversations spanning education, the economy, healthcare, energy, technology, public safety, culture, the arts, and more. TripFest gives you an up-close look at how big ideas take shape and how they affect your life. You'll connect with fellow Texans, engage directly with experts and leaders, and leave inspired to turn your boldest ideas into reality. This isn't just another political event. It's a catalyst for shaping the future of Texas today. Mark your calendars, November 13th through the 15th in downtown Austin. Get info and tickets at tribfest.org. That's tribfest.org. There is a study to look at this and research this pilot program, right, for smaller tunnels, almost $760 million for the Boring Company. That's almost $1 billion. How would Elon Musk and Representative Wesley Hunt benefit from this? Because it sounds like it's not just money. They also get valuable land when they do these digs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And the question is this actually a foot in the door for some other project? By starting and having a relationship with, government in Houston, are they actually laying the groundwork with these tunnels or some other project to pitch transit systems like they have done now in Nashville? And Nashville has a lot of traffic congestions like a lot of major cities do. And they, are very excited in Nashville, at least from the GOP side of things. I'll just say that it's become a little politicized over there, from my understanding, to have a quick way to get from the airport into the heart of the entertainment district in Nashville. Sounds great. They're going to do it for free. Sounds great. It's going to cut like the time of transit and above ground vehicles, way, way down. It's a win-win for everybody. And yet they're already behind schedule and they haven't even started in Nashville. They just announced, I think it was also last week, that there's no way that they're going to be able to do it because the limestone under Nashville is, quote, really, really hard.
That's like the first thing you look at is what you're going to be digging into.
What you're going to be digging into. Well, they said that with Vegas. So Vegas has something called caliche, which is essentially, because of the way our water tables in the desert work, it's very, very hard, almost concrete-y underground, which is why we don't have basements in Las Vegas, just because it's not cost effective to try to dig through this caliche. And their technology was able to penetrate the caliche with better results than any other technology prior to it had. And so they have a lot going for them, but you also have to wonder because, first of all, and as a journalist, you're going to love this, they don't respond to journalists. So any direct kind of questions that are posed, and we face this with ProPublica, which is, no minor player in the world of journalism, we never got a response. I wound up, and this is kind of a little behind the scenes stuff, physically handing questions to a security guard at the Boring Company headquarters, and I videotaped it, like, please have someone respond to us because all of our efforts have been ignored. And then the Convention and Visitors Authority here, which was sort of the pseudo government that brought them into the fold, jumped in and said, oh, we'll answer the questions for them. And it's like, but they're the ones who have the answers, not you. You're just...
What?
Yeah. If you challenge them, if you ask some probing questions, my experience is that you will not get a response from the Boring Company directly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they get these projects greenlit through politicians, and then there's not much oversight, according to your report.
Well, the politicians become the spokespeople.
And they really aren't giving you anything.
Yeah. And then the oversight is, look, they're going to follow all local rules and regulations to the extent that they can, except for, and here's another asterisk for you, there is kind of an Elon Musk philosophy that regulation is the enemy of progress. And it's much better to do something the wrong way and pay a fine afterwards than to comply with the existing regulations as they are. And that's been the approach here in Las Vegas. So good luck with that, y'all.
Yeah. Thanks. This is going to be interesting. Anything else that we should know about the Boring Company through all of your research based on what's been happening in Vegas? Should alarm bells be going off right now, or could this work out and Elon is here to save the day?
Oversight and accountability, I think, are important for any major public works project. The philosophy, again, of Elon Musk and the Boring Company to date has been, it's more of an annoyance than a civic obligation for us. And so we're going to do what we can to get our project to where we want it. Regulations and oversight kind of be damned. I mean, look, there's going to be certain rules that they have to follow. But our reporting found that they were doing work without permits. And their response was, so what? We did it fine. Nobody got hurt. Well, I mean, except for these various workers. But it's one of those things where you're dealing with someone who has the deepest pockets in the world, right? There was just one little quick anecdote from our story. When you dig underground, you are going to create waste materials that have to go somewhere. And so they weren't following the transport plans that they had filed with our county government. And the county government officials were following them around, watching literally God knows what materials dropping off the sides of trucks in areas that were not approved. And then at one point, there was a truck that overturned our major freeway on the I-15 here. And it caused a shutdown on a major a major freeway, and hours for cleanup, and no one knows what was in those materials, et cetera. And the penalty for them turned out to be a $75 traffic fine.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So,
That's it?
Yeah, $75. They had to pay it. And I don't know that I'm sure they did. Someone paid it.
Were there any other penalties from all of this?
Not from that. I mean, they have, the OSHA fines were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of the county regulatory fines were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you're talking about not just the richest man in the world, but a company that is worth so much money, $100,000, that's kind of probably a day of,
It's nothing.
Day of donuts for the workers.
I'm curious. The tunnels and the Tesla's driving around and this big promise, and now it's running. Has traffic gotten any better? Is life better for you in Las Vegas?
No, it hasn't impacted traffic yet, but it's not fully functional the way that it would. Eventually, they want to bring something at least as close as they can under existing FAA regulations to the airport. I mean, that's always the holy grail of any city, is that you have better transport to and from the airport, especially in tourist-oriented communities like ours. But again, it's always been the promise. I hate traffic, says Elon Musk. I have alternate transit abilities, and I'm going to give them to your city because we all hate traffic. And yet that has not been the result. The result has been this kind of like cool novelty that conventioners can use to get from the convention center to a couple of hotels so far.
Yeah. Post on Instagram,
Yeah.
tag it like, oh, look, I'm in the Boring Company tunnel. I've seen that. Like, oh, look at us.
And the lights are really, really super duper cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it any Tesla, or is it just certain Teslas that like are in the tunnel?
Well, they tout how secure it is. There have been many instances of street vehicles, just randos, you or me, my man, driving down into the tunnels and just cruising around, or skateboard kids. The skateboard kids love getting down there. So they've had to increase security, et cetera. But the system itself is designed just for the Teslas that are registered with the loop to use it.
Okay.
Theoretically, any car, if you want to bypass the security system, can get down there. But it's only meant for the Teslas to transport people.
Dayvid, this isn't the only Texas project that is being discussed by the Boring Company, right?
Yeah. So, they have their headquarters for their giant Tesla Gigafactory in Austin. And so the Boring Company, in conjunction with their, sister company there, built something called the Cyber Tunnel at the site. And so that began operating in 2025. It supposedly cuts, a lot of time, like 12 minutes off of what the transport of delivering the vehicles would be. And there's also been talks about a people mover, very much like the original one at the Las Vegas Convention Center, under Texas A&M. And honestly, I don't know the status of that, but I know it was definitely discussed.
All right, Dayvid, let's play some bets. What do you think are the chances that Elon Musk will fix Houston's flooding with some old-fashioned tunnels? And what year?
Yeah. So, I mean, my concern is your concern that no one has really thought out whether or not the size of the tunnels that they can promise are going to alleviate the problems that you need, right? But once the ball gets rolling, once machine is in the ground, it's hard to back away. And so I think that if the tip of the boring proof rock makes it in to the ground, you are going to have them participating in your abatement project. What year it'll probably be done by, if they don't run into geological problems, and if nobody has given them a red flag that this isn't going to effectuate what you need to happen for your floods, I would say they would have it done if they break ground, literally break ground, not ceremonially, 2 years after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some money down over at the Bellagio on that.
Thank you. I was going to say,
for you, I'm going to give you $10 on under your name, and if it's right, you can keep the whole payout.
done. We'll write it off as a CityCast write-off, okay?
Oh, okay. I'm just got a text from our bosses that said you can't do that, but I'll do it anyway, man. I like you.
Yeah, David, I enjoyed this conversation, man.
It was fun. Good luck with letting the fox into your hen house.
That was Dayvid Figler. He's a criminal defense attorney and the host of CityCast Las Vegas. I've linked his investigation into the Boring Company in our show notes. I definitely learned something new today, and if you did as well, then share this episode with 3 friends who care about flooding so they can be in the know. And if you have questions about Elon's potential tunnels, send it to us with the contact info in our show notes. Want more Houston news? Subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Houston, at houston.citycast.fm. And if you want to support both the podcast and newsletter, become a CityCast Houston neighbor for just $10 a month. Thanks. And listeners, don't go anywhere. In just a second, we've got a segment sponsored by the British International School. Executive producer Laura Isensee is chatting with Barry Scrimja about how their international curriculum prepares students for life and academic success.
Hey, I'm executive producer Laura Isensee here with Barry Scrimja, who's the principal of the British International School of Houston. Hey, Barry, welcome in.
Hello, Laura. It's lovely to meet you.
Barry, I'm curious to learn, how does the international curriculum at BIS Houston prepare students not just for academic success, but for life beyond school?
It's a great question. I think it's one of the ones we're pondering a huge amount within education. And we have a saying at BIS Houston, which is great academics open doors, but well-rounded individuals walk through those doors and thrive. So we focus a lot on the idea of how we're trying to develop the rounded student as well as the academic. So, being able to have really strong curriculum and academic outcomes is important. What's also important is to make sure we're developing people who have the right attributes and learning behaviors so they'll be successful in whatever the future is going to hold. Because obviously we are preparing them for jobs that haven't even been designed yet. So we need to make sure we're future proofing our students by making them understand that there is more than just knowing things. There's how you apply it, making sure our curriculum is joined up, making sure they understand their role and understanding where it's being a great communicator or a great collaboration person in terms of when a group, big group, small group, or working on your own, making sure you've got all the skills needed to be successful in the future is core to what we do at the school.
You mentioned that idea of what are the students going to do in the future? And it reminds me of another mantra, another saying that you have at BIS Houston, that you're creating futures. I'm curious, how do you break that down and how does it show up in students' everyday experiences?
Well, we're very much focused on the idea that we're backward planning from where do you want to go in the world? Where is your destination? We obviously have families from all around the world. We have lots of local families as well who might be wanting to go to the best top colleges in the US or internationally, the top universities. So what we try and do is make sure that we're always thinking about where do we want to go? What's our future look like? Then we can make sure that we are backward planning, whether that's through curriculum, making sure they're on the right pathway to get to their destination through the academics. We've got fantastic college counselling for that fantastic high school offer. But we're also, even down to our youngest age groups, thinking about how they see themselves in the world, understanding the curriculum, the world around them, and how the curriculum can then open up doors for them to be successful, to thrive now, but also in the future.
And we've been talking about the students and the student experiences, but can you share how BIS Houston supports the teachers and why that matters for the student success?
It's hugely important having the right teachers in front of our students because if we recruit really well in terms of really greatly qualified teachers to come into the country, whether they've been internationally trained or even locally trained, we make sure we have the right teachers. So recruitment is really important to make sure that we can make sure they've got the right training and skills. And what we want to try and do is we've got a British curriculum, which means it's got high academic rigor in terms of the outcomes that we're achieving. But we've also got teachers who've got the right pedagogy, so they understand how to teach the students in front of them. A lot of that is around the training, the ongoing professional development we do with our staff to make sure that they're consistently being the best teachers in front of the students, because we've got great class sizes of a maximum of 22 in every class. So, great learning environment. The campus is amazing. The resources are amazing. The curriculum is fantastic. All the conditions are there to make sure that the students can thrive. So our teachers need to bring that out of them by making sure that they're constantly teaching the students in front of them.
That's great. And tell me, if you were to sum up, one thing that makes your community stand out from other schools, I'm thinking of families who are considering BIS Houston. What's the number one thing that you think makes BIS Houston stand out when it comes to their child's educational journey?
Choosing your children's school is probably the biggest decision you make as a parent. And I think community, the word you use in your question there, is massively important to us. We want to be the community for our students, the families. So I think what stands out about us is we look after everybody within a family unit to make sure that the children can thrive. Because we have a great offer for our students and they come in and they do fantastic well. But we also know if we engage with the families, we have lots of events, we have coffee mornings, we have information sessions. We want the families to be involved in the learning, because if they're supporting them at home, as well as what we're doing in the school, we know that the student will be really successful and thrive, like I say, now and in the future. And I always talk about this head and heart thing when you come and visit a school. So whatever school you're visiting, you have to think, well, does it work logically in your head in terms of the logistics of it? But what about the feel? What does it do to your heart when you walk around that school? And I know when families come and visit us, they talk about that head and heart feeling. And, it feels like a great school. It makes lots of sense in terms of your head about the logistics and how we do it and communication and all the things we can do from the logistics part of it. And those things put together means it's a great community to come and join, because your child's going to be successful and you're going to be part of that journey as well.
That's wonderful. Well, this conversation has given me a lot of warm feelings. Barry, thanks so much for being here. Again, you can search online for the British International School of Houston to learn more. We'll also have that link in our show notes, so you're just a click away. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Laura. That will do it for today. I'm Raheel Ramzanali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.